Excuse me. All right, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started. If anybody jumps in, then we can just catch them up. First of all, I want to thank you guys for coming out and spending the time to go over some items here. As I mentioned in the email, my name is Rick Santos. I am the director this year. We usually have a coordinator, but LapRack, who's the company that actually puts on the race, has decided at this point in time not to run with a coordinator, just to have it run by Baker to Vegas committee for now, just because there's some uncertainty. And as we get closer, we'll probably make the adjustments. LapRack, for those of you who don't know, is the company that puts on the race. It's not put on by LAPD. LAPD is basically LAPD Sports Club. It's the easiest way to define it. So everyone who's on the Baker to Vegas committee is an LAPD officer. I've taken written down a few notes. We're going to go through some pretty basic things here. I don't know where everyone stands. We do have different agencies. We have Burbank, we have Illinois, we have Napa on here. And then, like I mentioned, I have somebody from the board sitting in on our meeting. So really, this meeting is going to take any direction that you folks wanted to. As you guys have questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Also, don't feel like you have to accomplish everything today, all your questions. If you do have questions later, you can always email me, call me, whichever is easiest for you. And we'll try and put out more videos as time goes on and as we get closer to help you navigate through this whole thing, because it really is a beast, if you will. I'm not sure if you guys all understand what you're about to what you're about to embark on. So let's see, a couple things here. In regards to just starting off, really the biggest thing is just to put the word out at your agencies. You know, I don't know if you guys are all running just within your own agency or multiple agencies, but really just start putting the word out, letting them know, hey, you know, we're putting a team together. I don't know who's running what in regards to competition level. I'm going to speak from my perspective. My perspective, because I've been a team captain, is a team that really hasn't been very competitive in the past. Brian, who's on here, may want to chime in, and Brian is actually part of the men's elite team, so he has a different perspective on how to organize some teams. So you have both ends of the spectrum here with you today. But I think the first thing that you guys want to do is really just put it out to everybody. Hey, you know, post stuff up in locker rooms and along the hallways. Hey, we've got a team going, and just try and put together an email list. Try and get just names of people who are just interested in running, not necessarily committed just yet, because all of a sudden you start talking commitment, people are going to start getting scared and getting freaked out. But just, hey, you know, are you interested in running? You're interested in finding out about it, and try and have a meeting and put together, like I said, an email list to keep people in the know. Also, you can never have enough runners. So I know the team is 20 runners plus alternates, but the more the merrier is what I always say, because those who commit to you right now and are very excited, come January, February, after the holidays, and they haven't been training because of the holidays, they will sometimes back out. So your list of 30 runners may end up being 18, and that's not unheard of. Oh, got one more person jumping in. Give me 1 second. All right. Tiara, can you hear us? Tiara? Tiara. Hello. Can you hear me? Thumbs up if you can hear me. Hello? All right.
You gotta watch the show.
So let's see. I've got Tiara. Can you hear me? Bottom left corner?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
I can hear you.
All right. I'm sorry, what agency are you with?
FBI Las Vegas.
Oh, perfect. All right. So we just started and we're just going over some basics. Like I've told everyone, you know, at any point in time, if you have questions, please feel free to jump in with questions. We're talking about runners and just putting together your list really right now. What you want to do right now is just pull as many people as you can that are interested. And that's both from a runner standpoint and from a support staff standpoint. Without your support staff, really, this does not go off. Your support staff is extremely important. And we'll talk a little bit more about what the support staff does in just a moment. So from the running standpoint, again, pull as many people as possible, more the merrier, and try and encourage running. With our team, because we can't get together all the time, my division is multiple locations, so it's hard to get everybody together. So what we'll do is we'll hold each other accountable using one of the run apps, whether it's Strava or Map My Run or something to that effect. And we'll, excuse me, the nice thing about Strava is it lets you build your own little club. So we just share information that way. So that's an option for you folks, for those of you who can't always get together with people to run. It's a way to encourage running. It's also a way to make sure that people are running. So that's a possibility. From the support staff standpoint, again, you want to see how many people you can find. Support staff is extremely important. You're going to have people who are driving vehicles. You're going to have people who are at the end of legs catching people, and I'll explain what a catcher is in a moment, as well as people who are just shuttling runners around or helping out. God forbid if you have a downed runner, somebody making sure that that person's okay, things of that nature. So you want to have a fair amount of people with you out on the race course, so you're not doing everything by yourself or trying to accomplish everything by yourself. The drivers, you have a support vehicle that's going to be needed, and that's your follow van. That's going to follow your runner from the beginning of the race all the way through into Vegas. That can be 2 vehicles. It can be multiple vehicles if you want it. The problem is if you're using multiple vehicles, changing all the equipment and stuff like that is pretty tedious. Just about everybody, I should say, will use just one vehicle. There has been incidences, my team included, where the vehicle is broken down. Somebody else will jump in with their own personal vehicle, will put all the equipment on that vehicle and continue to move. And the nice thing is usually if somebody's out there and they see a team struggling, they're going to help out. That's been common. That's pretty common practice out there. Other drivers that you might need, as I mentioned earlier, is shuttle drivers. It just depends how much you want to do. Shuttle drivers can bring runners in from Vegas out to their legs, you know, move them around from leg to leg if you want. Usually what we do, hang on one second, we've got somebody else coming in. Usually what my team will do is we'll use one another to help out, to catch and shuttle people, move cars around. Because remember, you're going to have to move cars if the runner's by themselves from one location, from the start location to the finish location. So like I said, the more people you have, the better off that you are. Keep everybody informed, and that includes your support staff. Emails, text messages, let them know, keep them excited. It is September, and the race is not until March. So there's a long period of time. And if you have some folks that truly aren't motivated, they're coming out because, hey, you know, you said you need a body, it's going to be tough. And you're going to have to do everything you can to try and keep them motivated and keep them excited about the race. So just understand that. Any questions thus far? Because again, I'm just rambling on. And we had, who just came in? Somebody just came in. I forgot. Estella, correct? Yes? I'm going to go with yes. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I just entered a little chat. That's me.
Okay. All right. So from a fundraising standpoint, Teams do different things to raise money, to get follow vehicles, things like that. For follow vehicles, I always encourage you to go out to your local dealerships. Let them know who you are, maybe put together a letter. If you have a station fund or some other fund that is a nonprofit, put together a letter with your nonprofit number on there, deliver it to them, let them know, hey, here's who we are, here's what we're trying to accomplish. And, you know, we'd really like your support. And what I always suggest is go out and try and get a minivan, because the minivans tend to work the best as follow vehicles. And you open up that side door and you just leave it open the entire time that you're out on the course. And that way you can support your runners and communicate with them and pass them water and things like that. Since we're talking about the support van, let's talk about the personnel that's usually in that support van. Obviously, you have a driver. You're going to have somebody sitting shotgun, somebody who can help pass water and things like that. Maybe keep splits if your runners want splits kept. And then you're also probably going to have one or two people in the back, depending upon your setup. We usually carry our alternate runner in the back, just in case, especially in the beginning, just in case somebody goes down, they can jump out and they can start running while the driver and the navigator take care of the downed runner. And we'll talk about downed runners a little bit more as we continue to talk. But like I said, the follow van, usually just reach out to one of your local dealerships, see if, you know, they can't give you something for the weekend. If not, you know, you can rent something. I always suggest renting it out in Vegas. It just makes it a lot easier for pickup and for delivery. So there's that option. Sometimes we'll get a couple of vehicles as well. Some teams will get shuttle vans, so that way they can shuttle runners. They'll get 15 passenger vans, things like that, to, like I said, get runners from Vegas out to the race course and back into Vegas. So that's always an option as well. My team usually has a very low budget. We don't have a lot of money. We do some fundraising, and then we reach out to a few different people who support our team. And so we don't have a whole bunch of cash. So we are bare bones. When I talk bare bones, we are extremely bare bones. We have a follow vehicle, and usually that's about it. So we shuttle our own selves out there and move people around if we have to. We kind of all pitch in. Let's see. Signage for the vehicles. You are going to need signage for your vehicles. We usually have somebody come out. One of our donors will come out. Somebody who donates to the race, they'll come out and solicit their business. They have a sign company in the city of El Monte, which isn't too far from us here. And there's a few signs. You'll need numbers, your team number, and those will be sent out later, your actual team number. They'll also have a sign that's called a down runner sign, and it says that caution down runner. And I can get you photos of what that looks like at a later time. And those are going to be placed onto your vehicle. Every vehicle needs them, or else you won't be able to be out on the race course. So that's going to be needed. That's a few dollars, not a heavy lift. You're also going to need a light on top of your vehicle, an amber rotating light. You can usually pick one of those up at, I think I got mine at like a Track Auto parts store. So again, that's not, putting together the vehicle isn't expensive. It's the vehicle itself. From a fundraising standpoint, you can, host barbecues. There is a company that is a supporter of our organization that I'll have that information will be out on our website. And usually what he'll do is he just asks, hey, look, just give us 10 minutes, because they want to solicit, obviously. Give us 10, 15 minutes of your team's time. They'll do their little pitch, and then they supply all the food. You guys grill it, and you make all the profit on it. So there's always that. We'll usually do barbecues at, if we have some type of function at the station, or if we have a training day, we'll do barbecues, and we'll make a few $100s that way. If you have attorneys will sometimes give money, doctors give money. So I always reach out to them. Again, give them a 501c3 number, and they are very gracious to support our teams. Other things that we do to raise money is we'll usually put together a shirt that we sell. There's on the Baker to Vegas website, there's a form that you have to fill out. You just tell us what you're going to use our logo for, our verbiage, Baker to Vegas, and submit it. So that way we know who's using it, and throw it on a shirt, sell them. That's another way of making money. So those are things that we do here at my division to raise some money. I know other teams do different things. It can get overwhelming. So that's why I try and keep it as simple as possible. Questions, guys, ladies and gentlemen, any questions thus far?
Yes, Rick, I have a question about the company that does the barbecue. Can you repeat that company?
I don't have the company name with me. We're going to put them on our website. Let me see if I have his contact. I have his contact information. What I'll do is I will shoot him a text as we're speaking right now, see if he answers up, and I'll get the name of his company.
Okay.
And but like I said, we'll have it on our website. Give me 1 second. All right, so he should hopefully text back really quickly, and I'll pass that information along. But we've used him. Again, the challenge is just depends on your department's policies in regards to who can come onto your grounds to solicit. But if you do it off ground somewhere, usually it's an easier way to get around it. He just asks for 10 minutes, 15 minutes of your team's time to solicit to them, and it's like a financial planning group. So he'll do a quick presentation. He's not really pushy. I've known him for years. I've done business with him as well. He's not very pushy. He just asks for information if people are interested, and that's about it. So it's, I know we're all very cautious with who we bring around us, and who we share information with and who we listen to. But the guy actually used to be a police officer with our agency. He just made more money doing this, so he left.
Okay, awesome.
He just responded, so he's sending his info over right now. Any other questions, guys?
Hi, Rick. This is Estelle. I'm sorry that I was late to the call.
Oh, no problem.
I was having issues with. I was using the wrong browser to try to get onto the Zoom chat, and so it was just I was not figuring it out. So do I have to I'm considering starting. The reason that I dialed in today is that I want to start a team for my agency. I work for OPLA.
Okay.
It's part of ICE. It's in LA. It's mostly attorneys and legal support staff. And so does each individual team have to create its own 501c3? Is that how?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Or is it Baker to Vegas?
I was talking about 501c3s just in case you wanted to reach out to donors. That was the only reason why I mentioned it. Sometimes if you're a nonprofit or if you have nonprofit status, people may be more likely to give to you. That's the only reason why I mentioned the 501c3.
Oh, but we could, is that something that's like pretty easy to do? Like,
I know there's tax forms and things that you need to fill out. I've never done it myself. Uh, some of the people, like if you're local, Galpin Auto out in the San Fernando Valley, they give out a lot of vehicles for the race. I know a lot of agencies, and they do not ask for letters or anything like that from nonprofit or anything. They just are very pro law enforcement and will give you vehicles. I've used Longo Toyota locally as well. Some of the bigger dealerships really just want to give back, so they don't
oh
ask for
wow.
anything. Oh
So
yeah,
that's cool. So could I reach out to you like, later during the, the season to get like some specific names, like, in case like, when it comes time for us to like purchase a vehicle, can
absolutely.
I follow up with you about that? Okay, cool.
Absolutely. But I will
Yeah.
tell you guys this in regards to vehicles. I know like with Galpin, every year it gets a little bit earlier. I think we put the request in like at the end of October, early November, just because they give away so many vehicles to use for the race that if you wait too long, you can't find anything. I've gone to
Oh wow.
Longo as late as I went to them one year because I was really behind the eight ball. Somebody bailed on us. We didn't have a car, and I needed a car, and I walked over there and told them who I was and what I was trying to do. And this was, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks before the race, and they gave us a car. The only thing that they asked is, hey, we'll give you a car, but it's going to have our wrap on it and everything. I said, that's fine. You can, by all means, you put the wrap on there. You guys can, whatever. It doesn't matter to me, gladly. So it just kind of depends. Again, it's never too early to start preparing for the race. So if you want to start reaching out to people now, they may tell you, some dealerships may tell you, hey, we're not going to make that decision just yet. Come back. That's fine. But at least now you know.
Okay.
Javier's, so the company is called National Life Group. And that's National Life Group. And the contact person is Javier Rodriguez. And let me find out. One thing I didn't ask him is his preferred way of contact. So I'm going to ask him if he wants me to give the cell phone number or email address. So he'll reach back to me in a second. But like I said, Javier does a great job. He's a former cop. You just tell him how many people you think it's going to be. And it's a simple thing though. Don't expect carne asada and chicken or anything. We're talking about hamburgers and hot dogs, and he'll put it all together for you. He brings all the food, and you guys just, throw it on the grill and you grill it and you make all the profit. So he's done a lot of different agencies. Any other questions as I wait for Javier to respond? Okay. Let's talk about, I don't know how far you guys want to go with this, just because I don't know where everybody's at. Just understand that, this is a pretty big partaking. You are really making a big commitment. My advice to you is to find help. My advice is that you not do this alone. I've done it alone, and it is very tough. If you can find a couple of people to help you out, maybe somebody to do the runner, somebody to do support, and then you just kind of oversee it, that will make your life so much easier. From the runner standpoint, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I think you were maybe about to give some explanation. I'll wait till you finish this segment. So
Okay.
I'll withdraw my question.
All right. From the runner standpoint, again, I, just encourage your people to start running. You may want to start having, like I said, group runs, but you may also want to start early with running a couple 10Ks. And the reason why I say that is at least you have an idea of what your runner's abilities are. So usually what I will do is I'll tell them, hey, look, we'll go out and we'll run a local course here, and I'll time them. So I'll have something to put down, or I'll tell them, hey, go out and run a 10K somewhere. Let me know what the course was like and send me your time. So that way I can start tracking where everybody's at. And people will say, wow, I'm not ready. I haven't been training. That's fine. Don't worry about it. I just need a baseline. So push come to shove, if this person doesn't do any more training and I still need a body, I can at least have somewhat of an idea of where they're at, because that's going to come into play when you start assigning legs and when you project your overall time, because you are going to have to send us a projected overall time, and that's how we place you guys. So I usually put together a spreadsheet and with all the runners' names and dates and courses, and then I'll put down the times so that way I can see where everybody's at. So that's important. The sooner you start that, the better off you are. And don't be afraid to do it, every month or every 2 months. I know some teams, the elite teams don't necessarily worry about that too much because everyone stays on task. They may do, 3 time trials the entire time. I don't tend to call mine time trials because the minute I say time trials, people start freaking out. I just tell them, hey, we're going to go out on a run. I just want to see where everybody's at. But again, I come from a different perspective. I'm just trying to find 20 bodies with a pulse that are going to go out in Vegas and make it back. So let's see.
Got it?
In regards to downed runner, communications. Let's talk communications a little bit because that tends to come up. People always ask, hey, how much do I need? What do I need? Again, my experience has been we don't have a whole bunch of money, so we don't do a whole bunch in regards to communication. We'll do the minimums, and then the minimums is the fact that we have an FRS radio in the van that will be able to communicate with the hams people that are driving up and down the course, as well as the other follow vehicles. Really, that's the only communication I have. Understand this, you will not be in the past years, you weren't able to use the cell phone out on the course. I say in the past because Verizon was supposed to put up a new cell tower out there, which was going to make communications a lot easier. I just don't know if it's up. But if they haven't put it up, communications legs 1 through 5, 1 through 6 are, minimal. 7 through 11, you might get some. And then it's dead again until you get to about leg 18, because 18, 19, and 20 are in the city. So understand using cell phones and stuff like that is very difficult out there. But the FRS radios, you can communicate from van to van. So in other words, hey, if you've got to jump out of the van and go to the restroom or something, if you're going to pull off from your runner, you just let the van around you know, or you let one of the hams people know, hey, team 25, we're going to pull off. We got to use the restroom. Our runners by themselves, and somebody else will take care of your runner while you do that. And then when you're ready, you just jump on the radio and you let them know that you're good to go. In the event that you have a downed runner, and my team has experienced that a few times, like I mentioned earlier, the driver and the navigator will take care of the downed runner while your alternate gets out and starts running. And you are then immediately going to take that runner to the closest point, whether it's back to where they started or to the end of that leg, because we have doctors at every single leg. So as you do that, as you're driving you guys will get back on the radio and let them know, hey, we've had an emergency, we've had a down runner. Someone please stay with our runner. And another team will stay there. Even if it's a hams person on a motor, they'll stay behind your runner to make sure that your runner's okay till they get to the finish. So because we understand that, hey, the first thing we want to do is make sure that you take care of that downed runner. So now there are a couple of companies that will rent you radios, and there are people who swear by them. And maybe Brian can talk a little bit more about that, because I've never used them, but I've heard good things about them. I don't know what the cost is off the top of my head. We have a couple of people who are sponsors of the race. I think we have 2 that are sponsors of the race that go ahead and they rent radios out there. You pick them up in Vegas, so it's pretty convenient. You pick them up in Vegas, and then you drop them back off in Vegas. So people like them. Again, we don't have a lot of money, so I've never gone down that route. We're usually just trying to make it through the race. But go ahead.
Rick, I have a quick question. So
Yes.
you say that your team has a pretty bare bones budget, and I'm anticipating, because if I'm starting a team from scratch, that I'm going to have a bare bones budget as well. So what do you do? What's the alternative to renting a radio?
So what we do, like I said, is we'll have an FRS radio. The FRS radios are very inexpensive. You can get them, at, I was about to say Radio Shack, but I don't even think they exist anymore. Any sporting goods store or anything like that, like a Big 5, you can get them. And they're about $40-$50 for 2 of them. And you can get, 2, 4, 6 of them. We only run 2 of them. They're, again, even communication with those is a little tough. It's almost, it's supposed to be like a mile radius, but truly in some areas out there, it seems like it's line of sight. So, you can use those. Usually what we'll do as well is I will put together a thread for the first half of the race, second half of the race, a text thread, and I'll tell people, hey, look, we're taking off at this time. And I put together a schedule for runners, and I tell them, okay, we're all on this thread. As soon as you're done, put out your text. And then when you get back in to range, the text will go through. But it's timestamped so everyone knows where we're at. But that just helps with runners' times. That doesn't necessarily help with what's going on the course at that current moment. But usually that's the biggest thing that people want to know is, hey, are we on time? Are we, ahead of schedule? Especially on that back end, they want to know, do I need to come out, earlier? Because there is a lot of traffic out there. So
that sounds like a lot of coordination and a little scary. Maybe yeah. So how much would one of these radio rentals cost?
I do not know. I can try and find out for you guys.
Can you try to give me some contacts? Because I have another kind of B2V veteran contact whom I could ask. But if you have
hey, we
a
spent
contact for a
$600.
radio.
Say again, Brian?
6 what?
We spent $600 in the elite team. For the rental. I know.
There you go.
Good thing you can't see my face right now. So $600, $600, is it 10 times better than the $60 radio?
You get a much broader reach. So you have people that are gearing up for several legs ahead of where the actual race is taking place, and they want an update. And you get a lot better reach through in the desert with the more expensive radio. I'm trying to find out the contact on that. In the past, though, prior to us having a highly organized elite team, we would bring our work radios and work off of our simplex option.
What team were you on,
that was
Brian?
the budget. I'm sorry?
What's your team? I may pester you with questions too.
The LAPD elite team, their top team.
Oh wow! Oh, okay. Well, that's elite. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So Brian comes from that perspective. So the questions that you asked Brian are going to come from that perspective. They are, I mean, their projected time is pretty much spot on. I mean, they are really good at their projected times and their guys hitting their marks. They are beyond organized. And it's not so much that the other teams aren't organized. It's just that there's a lot more wiggle room. Because again, if I project my runner to run, let's say, 8:30 splits and they're running 9:30 splits, I'm just happy that they made it to the end. That's just my reality. Brian, his team is, hey, you're going to hit this mark, and they do. So there's a difference there. I have that phone number for you guys for National Life Group for Javier Rodriguez. You guys are ready for it? Phone number is area code 562-237-3683. Again, 562-237-3683. I don't know how deeply you guys want to get into run plans and how to organize that, just because, again, we're early on and I don't mind hosting other meetings. So that way we can discuss stuff like that as we get closer. Because like I said, you're going to have to put in a projected time. You're going to have to put together a spreadsheet, if you will, with, your runners and what time you expect them at their points. So that way people have an idea of what time to be at their starting point. And I can send you examples of other teams and what they use. So I don't know how deep you guys want to get into that. I'm more than happy to answer any questions, both Brian and myself, in regards to that. I just don't know if you guys want to jump down that rabbit hole right now or not. One thing that I will please ask you guys to please, stress to your runners, and you'll hear this from now till all the way through the race, is make sure that your runners are taking care of themselves, that they're hydrating. You folks might have some young, talented runners on your team. And I say young specifically because those are the ones that tend to get into trouble. And I'm not talking about trouble in Vegas, but I'm talking about trouble in the desert because they didn't hydrate. They drank the night before, they drank 2 nights before, and they try and cheat the desert. And I promise you this, it will end up in a bad outcome for them. You cannot cheat the desert. I've taken the baton at leg 1 as hot as 105, I think it is, air temperature. So it's hotter coming off of the ground. And I've run as cold as, I don't know, below freezing, up in the hills. So, some of the youngsters think that they can go out and have a few the night before, and then they turn around and run the next day in that heat, and it just does not go well. We have people go down every single year. That's why we have 4 helicopters to transport people. And, every single year we put the message out, and every single year those birds are up in the air the entire time taking people. So please make sure that you're talking with your runners, and make sure that they're hydrating, that they're staying out of trouble. There's plenty of fun to be had after the race. So just make sure that you guys are pushing that message down. Anything else from you guys? And I know it's hard for most of you because you've never done this, so you don't know what to ask. But please, anything you guys think of.
I'll ask a couple questions that you most likely already answered during the first 10 minutes that I was late. But so you said 20 bodies with a pulse. How many
team.
backup runner? What?
I said, that's my team. I'll take any 20 I can get.
No, that's kind of my expectation.
Okay.
I mean, we have a big office, but I don't think a lot of people are very like athletically motivated,
Okay.
you know? Um, so so 20 runners for the legs. How many backup runners do you
Okay.
recommend?
So ideally at least 5, but here's how I would tend to run it. Because I've gone out there with exactly 20 runners, received a phone call on Thursday that I lost a runner while in Vegas. So I'm trying to put together a team while in Vegas, doing some other things, getting ready for the race. So I've experienced, a whole bunch of things. So what I do is I'll do 20 runners. And if I don't have any alternates, I'll tell my navigator, hey, look, you're sitting in the van. If the runner goes down, you guys make sure that the runner gets into the van. You then become the alternate. And I don't care if you walk, I don't care if you skip, I don't care what you got to do. Just get us to the next point so we don't get disqualified. I've gone out there just doing that.
As the team like director, do you run a leg?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I would expect to run a leg myself. So tell me a little bit about like having like a dedicated, because I told you that I was supposed to do Baker to Vegas as part of one of the Department of Labor's teams this year, but that obviously didn't happen. And they had like a dedicated team like helper. What's that about?
So you'll have a support staff, and your support staff you obviously need drivers. I recommend at least 4
How many
drivers. I recommend 4.
How many?
4.
So 4 dedicated, so 20 leg runners, 5 backup runners, like, good luck if you can get them.
Right.
And then support drivers 4.
I recommend 4 because nobody wants to sit in the van for half that race. That sucks. That's miserable.
You can't use the restroom. Yeah.
You can pull off, but I mean, driving at, 2 miles an hour for, 8 hours, 10 hours or whatever. I mean, that's pretty rough. So
that's brutal.
Every 5 hours or every 5 legs, we switch drivers. So that's why I say
those
4.
drivers don't have law enforcement.
No, they do not. They can be family members. They can be anybody. You can pay somebody to do it if you want. It doesn't matter. So your support staff does not have to be law enforcement. And then also remember, your team can be a mixed team with civilians. So if you have civilians that are employed by your department, you can do a mixed team there, an invitational team, we call it. So you have to just look at the categories.
Okay.
So going back to your original question, so I recommend 4 drivers, 4 navigators, because you want somebody in the van, especially at night. You want somebody in the van with these people. You don't want just the driver in the van by themselves. And then my alternates will be in the back of the van. So there's usually 3 people in the van at any one time, especially in the beginning. If I'm short people, then I will be short personnel in the van in the front or in the back half of the race, because it's less likely that somebody's going to go down the second half of the race. It's more likely the first half because of the heat. And then what we do is, as the team captain, the last few years, I've run like leg 4. So I'll catch 1 and 2 and then take off to my leg, because you need catchers. And what a catcher is somebody to ensure that when that runner comes in, that they're received, that they have a bottle of water, that they're okay, they can walk around, and they can get back to their car. So if that runner brings a loved one with them, I just tell them, hey, that person is now your catcher. So, just make it simple. If that's the way it works, then great. I'm just usually out there the first 5 legs or so. I used to stay out there in the entire race. It just killed me. I don't do that anymore. That's just nuts. So you just, again, we kind of leapfrog each other. We help out. I'll tell people in the beginning of the race, hey, look, you know, I'll have 2 or 3 guys drive in from LA to go out and race, and they're going to come back. It's okay, fine. I'll put you in the front of the race, but here's the deal. You have to catch the first 5 legs, or you have to help move cars around, things like that. Because if somebody shows up without any support, they park their car at the beginning of their run, their car now has to get to the end of the run. So you have to make accommodations for that. So as we get closer, you have that look like, oh my gosh. As we get closer, I will help you try and organize that. That's why I said, don't try and tackle this by yourself. Try and get help.
So we do it with less people.
There you go.
Being a department team, department wide, we don't have a division that we can pull from. We pull from everybody, which does piss people off. But we have 2 drivers basically. It's the driver and a support person, and we do the whole race, and we switch halfway and take over driving. We'll have our alternate sitting in the van with us, so they also swap out halfway through, and then we're doing that whole thing with 4 people basically. And then we'll have our catchers. We'll have 2 sets of catchers that leapfrog most of the way, and then we will swap them out halfway through as well.
So okay. I have a question. A catcher is someone in addition to the driver and the navigator. So this is
Yes.
another person in the vehicle.
They're not in the vehicle. They are going to go from leg to leg. So if I run leg 1, I need to have a catcher at the end of leg 1 to receive me as I come in. So as I come in, that person is going to be responsible for having a bottle of water and making sure that once I hand off that baton, that they support me to walk back to my vehicle. And really what it is just make sure that the person's walking around and that they're okay. Once they're moving around and stuff, you just move on to the next.
If you've done any other races like Ragnar type things or whatever throughout your
I've
running,
never done a relay. I've done a lot of races, but never like a relay.
but this race in particular has a lot of, some might think, ridiculous rules in place that a lot of races don't. But that's because we're dealing with cops, and they think they're invincible, and they're in Vegas the night before, and they come out, and we have a lot of people falling out. And so all these rules are in place to kind of counteract the I'm invincible attitude. I can wear this, I can do that, I can drink all night, I don't need to hydrate. It's to protect the people out there that aren't really thinking right. So some of it does seem overkill, it is, but there's a reason for it, and it's frustrating.
I get it. So how does a catcher get from like the end of leg 1 to the end? Like, are they providing their own transportation?
Yes, generally yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so support staff, because I'm just trying to get like a macro perspective of what this looks like. So you need leg runners, backup runners, support drivers, navigators, and then like
Catchers.
maybe like how many, like 4 catchers? Or it doesn't have to be like dedicated catchers, but it could be like maybe people who like, so is it like dedicated catchers?
Well, most people are going to go out with somebody. Most people are going to take, a loved one or a buddy or somebody with them out to the lake. There's very few that go out there by themselves. And if that's the case, then their buddy, their husband, their wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, son, daughter, whatever it is, they're their catcher. That's usually what I tell them. Hey,
You just need to plan that beforehand, because when they get there, they have to have the vest on. They have to know what they're doing, and you can't be, as a director, you don't be worrying about if the catcher's got, going to be there or whatnot. So you got to plan that out beforehand.
Okay. All right. I'll figure it out.
And again, as we get closer in, you know, you can always use me as a resource. You can reach out to me. You guys have my contact information. Nobody's going to leave you hanging. And that's the nice thing about this race. Even a couple years ago, Detroit came out for the very first time, and they were running late because they didn't anticipate the traffic that it takes to go from the 15 freeway to the start of the race. And they came in with just minutes to spare. And when you get there, you have to put your van together. And they had nothing put together, and they didn't know how to put it together because it was their very first time. So all of us jumped out of our vans. We all helped them put it all together. We situated their van, and we were perfect. You know, so there is a lot of support out there. No one's going to leave you hanging. You know, we will take care of you, but, you know, let's do as much pre-planning as possible. Utilize me as a resource, and I will help you guys get through it.
Yeah, a couple of things that people take for granted are pretty simple. It's the traffic, water, and toilet paper.
Yes. Yeah.
Truth.
Yeah. Yes. 100% true. Because we do have porta potties at every single stage. But again, if you're one of those teams that's coming in, 10 hours after the race has started, because we're at the tail end, there may not be toilet paper inside that porta potty. Flashlights, make sure your people have flashlights in the back half of the race so that way they can see inside the porta potty because there are no lights.
Snacks.
Yeah, snacks in that follow vehicle van. Definitely snacks. Your drivers and people that are in the van will appreciate it. Gas cards for those vans, or cash, or hey, save the receipt so we can reimburse you after. Make sure you're checking with whoever it is that you're pulling money from, that, hey, what do we need for reimbursement? Whatever those policies are. I know with us, we need a receipt and all this other stuff. Okay, fine. So I tell my people who are putting gas, because you're going to have to refuel your follow vehicle. And I tell them, hey, just put gas, get me a receipt, and I will reimburse you. So things like that you have to take into consideration. Also, if I have somebody who's dedicated as a catcher, I will fill up their tank, because it is a lot to drive around in the desert and make sure that your runners are safe and that they're accounted for and things like that. So I try and do as much as I can. Other things that you're going to want to probably purchase at the end of the race are mugs. If you do get mugs, if your top 50% of the teams within each category are going to get mugs, you're going to want to buy your support staff mugs, because then they're going to want to come back the following year. Anything you get for your runners, you get for your support staff, because that way you show the appreciation, because without your support staff, this is very difficult to put together. It just does not happen. It will make or break a team. You think your runners are important, your support staff is just as important. Any other questions, guys?
Yeah, I got a question about the registration fee.
Sure.
You know when that's going to be due?
We don't. So I plan on meeting with the doctors in October, because there's a lot of uncertainty. We're hoping, we're crossing our fingers that this race is going to go off. The numbers seem to be trending in our favor. The problem is we're in California, so we're hoping that this does go off. We don't want to start collecting money just to have to send it back. So we'll give you guys ample time. We're going to be very fair this year. We're not going to say, hey, money's due next week. We're going to give you guys time, but I will have more information on that after I have the conversation with the doctors in October.
I have a question. One is are there any other deadlines that we need to be kind of cognizant of? Like, is there?
So right now we have nothing because of the uncertainty. So things that will come up rather, or you'll have a communications form that is usually due sometime in February. It's very easy to fill out. I'm actually going to have our head of communications make a video, and I'll send the link out to all of you so that way you can watch it and figure everything out in regards to communications. T-shirt order forms. With your registration fee, you get 25 t-shirts. If you want to purchase more, that's fine. So that t-shirt order form is, I'm going to say probably November, December. Once you pay your entry fee, we generally ask that you turn in that form, so that way we get an accurate count of sizes. The longer you wait, the less likely you're going to get exactly what you want size-wise.
And how many come with it? 25?
25. What else? The estimated time frame
right
will
now
be
there's
at the
no
end.
deadline for the registration fee, but it would probably have to be before November or December.
Yes. Yeah. It's usually, I want to say, Brian, help me out on this. Usually it's mid-December that we have to turn the money in by. Brian?
Sorry, give me 1 sec. What's work on?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Take care of that. Yeah, I'm almost positive. Normally, it's right around mid-December when we have to turn in registration fees. So just plan for that. The fee's not going to change. It will be $2,300. So we'll give you, about 2 months to turn that in.
And does fundraising, like when you talked about like ways to fundraise, does fundraising go toward also raising that initial registration fee?
You can, sure. You can start your fundraising now and start putting that money away. Usually what we're blessed where most of our divisions will have divisional station funds. So we'll pull the money from our station funds. But, you can always ask your runners to put forth money ahead of time as well and say, hey, look, if we raise enough, we'll reimburse everybody or we'll buy you some swags. And, we buy team sweatshirts. You can turn around and do that. So there's ways to get runners to pay for a portion of the cost. It's not ideal, I understand, but especially that first year, it's sometimes tough.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything else from you guys?
At each leg, does every runner need to be there 30 minutes prior to the start of their leg?
So I highly recommend.
Or is it just whenever they can show up?
So I highly recommend that they're there. I tell my runners to be there about an hour before each leg. And the reason being is because, again, we talked about communication. You're not always going to know, especially your first year, if your time is accurate or not. So if we're running slower, then great. My runner's there and they just got to warm up longer. If we're running ahead of time, I want to make sure that my runner is ready to go because it's not a simple process. There's a lot of traffic out on the course. They've got to get to their stage. They've got to find parking. They've got to, at that point, once they find the parking, they've got to register. So you're going to walk up with your IDs, make sure that everyone has IDs. I highly suggest that you tell them to take pictures of their department IDs and put them on their phone. So that way, if something does occur, you can give us a call and let me know. And as long as you have the picture, we should be all right. And then they're going to have to go and what they do is once they turn in their ID, they'll check them in and they're going to give them one bib. And they say, okay, go fill out the back of this bib. And it's all their personal information, their medical information. And then they're going to bring that bib back. Once they bring that bib back, they will hand them the second bib. And then they've got to attach the bib to their shirt in front and in back. Everyone shall wear a bib number and everyone shall wear a vest. It's usually from 1,900 hours to 0,700 hours. That's another thing that I forgot to mention. You're going to want to buy vests. Brian, how much are those vests? Are they $23, $25 each, something like that?
They're in that $25, $30 range.
Okay, so we do have some here at Lap Rack. We do generally carry some. We do take some out to Vegas, but if
they're different than their normal running vests. They've got the rules require lights on both sides.
So make sure that, and again, if you're not going to buy, I think it's, for our team, it's usually leg 8, I think it is. No, we've gone longer than that. Leg 10 or 11, I think. So theoretically, we might need 9 vests. If you don't want to buy 9, you don't have to. You just have to make sure that you're leapfrogging those vests ahead of time, because the last thing you want is your runner to get a vest last minute and then try and put it on and then put the number on top of the vest and all that stuff. So make sure that you have enough vests where you can comfortably leapfrog them if you're not going to buy, for the entire back half of the race.
The catcher need a vest as well?
The catcher needs just a regular traffic vest.
Okay.
No lights needed, nothing like that. You go to Home Depot and buy the vests. It's no big deal. Those are simple.
Catchers are a good source, though, to leapfrog the
Yes.
vest if you're doing that, because they're jumping up to the legs. They can hand it off to the runner that's waiting, kind of thing. And as Rick was saying, that hour before is a good idea to plan on it. It accounts and allows for a lot of possible drama with traffic, finding a place to park. The legs get really congested, the toilets, checking in, all that stuff. That hour really goes by quick. So
Make sure they understand, do not speed out there. We run into problems from time to time. NHP, Nevada Highway Patrol, as well as CHP, we've told them, hey, if somebody's out there driving stupidly, go ahead and cite them. They're well aware, because we don't want any accidents. We've had accidents in the past, and it's not a good thing. There's a lot. I mean, like Brian just said, those highways are very congested. They're not closed. Please understand that. It's not closed to regular traffic. We don't close down the highway. So there's regular traffic as well as race traffic. And you figure, last year we had 300 teams that were registered and ready to go, 20 something, bodies per team, more than that actually, plus the follow vehicles and all that. That's a lot of people out on that highway. And it's a 2-lane highway, 1 lane each way. So please understand it's going to take a while.
you have locals that aren't exactly supportive. They get pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
Their roads are clogged up, and they're speeding, flipping you off, trying to get around. And so it is what it is, but we try to limit it on our end.
Friday night is check-in. So don't assume that every one of your runners is going to come into Vegas, because a lot of your runners won't. First 7-8 legs of my team generally don't come in. They drive in, run, and then go back out. So anything that you think that they're going to need, make sure that they have it ahead of time, unless you're planning on meeting them somewhere out on the race course. So just know that catcher's vests will be handed out that Friday night, but push come to shove, just grab a piece of paper, put it on a vest with some safety pins, and put your number on it, and you'll be fine. You don't necessarily need to have a catcher's bib. Just have your number on a piece of paper that's attached to the vest, and you'll be fine. There'll be meetings on that Friday night. It's a good idea to go to them just for any last minute updates. Make sure that you're checking your emails regularly on that race weekend. We will put out information the entire time. If anything comes up, we put it out as quickly as we can. But it's up to you to continuously check your emails, make sure that you're getting them.
When is, Rick, when is the list of runners due?
List of runners actually isn't due until week before the race, week of the race.
Okay.
Yeah. So my suggestion is always anybody. So earlier I told you how I use my drivers and navigators as alternates. Put everybody down when we put out the runner registration, because you're going to have to list your runners on the computer. Put everybody down. Put everybody down, whether you think they're going to run or not. If they're out in Vegas and they're part of your staff, put them down. So, if something happens, they're already there, they're listed, no problem. I don't remember. I think on the website we have the elevation charts for the race. If not, for the legs rather. If not, let me know. Reach out to me via text. I have them on my phone. I'll send them out to you guys. My phone number is on the email that I sent to you guys. If you don't have it, it's area code 714-313-0048. You guys can reach out to me anytime. Like I said, I have them on my phone. You shoot me a text, I'll shoot you the elevation charts, so that way you have an idea of what the race course looks like. It
They're
is
on.
very challenging.
They're on here. I'm looking at them right now.
Okay, perfect.
Mhm.
All right.
It's
So-
a link on the website.
Okay. Utilize that website. Jump on there. We do put a lot of information on there. The team captain meetings will always have links on there. All the meetings we'll post on YouTube, so that way you guys can take a look at them after and go through it. Because we understand that, hey, you guys are all working hard and don't always have an hour to spend to listen to a team captain meeting. So you can go back at your leisure and listen to the meeting. I'll try and put out updates and information every couple of weeks, as opposed to waiting for the team captain meeting, just so that way you guys have that information and it's not overwhelming. You're not getting a whole bunch of information at once. I'm not big on having long meetings. If we can do it short, let's do it short. Let's just be precise with the information, so that way you guys can go about your day. I don't want to waste your time. Anything else, you guys?
The sworn law enforcement volunteer, do you put them on?
We will, there's going to be a form on the website that we'll post, and you'll be able to fill it out and submit it that way.
Is there a list of jobs they can pick from?
Oh gosh, no. We'll assign them. But you just have to make sure that you have somebody who's responsible, because if your volunteer doesn't show up, you will be disqualified. It's very important. The bulk of our help is volunteers.
You mean like the dedicated team volunteer?
Yes, there's one person who is dedicated that you submit names for, or you submit.
And
the
it can't be you, the team director.
No, because then you're tied up the entire night. Yeah, you would be tied up all night. You wouldn't be able to run. You wouldn't be. No, it would be tough. So you might want to make that a little bit, extra incentive wise for somebody. You might want to say, hey, look, I'll pay your gas. I'll, buy you dinner, whatever it is. Just make sure you show up. Make sure you do what's asked. It's nothing too crazy. We don't have anybody, digging ditches out in the middle of the desert or anything like that. Some of the positions in the middle of the night can be cold. Also, understand that. So leg, what's 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, all the way up to the top of Mountain Springs can be cold. It can be cold. It can be breezy.
We've had black ice in the past.
Yeah.
Through that section.
So the weather changes tremendously. Like I said, it can be 105 when we take off, and on top of Mountain Springs, it can be 30 something degrees. So it does change.
Is the construction done after leg 16 that they had
I
last?
do not know yet. We're going out October 14th. I'm going out there. We'll check all that, and I'll have that update for the first team captains meeting. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it is, because that's just a mess.
Is this meeting being recorded? Is this meeting going to be posted on YouTube?
YouTube? Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the other questions that a lot of my officers asked about was safety because of the temperament towards law enforcement.
Uh-huh.
I just wanted to, is there anything specific that I could tell them to kind of put their mind at ease?
So we do work with our major crimes as well as Vegas Metro in assessing threats. So we, a few years ago, forgive me because I don't remember the year, I want to say 17, when we had the mass shooting out there. That following April, everyone was, concerned, and, understandably so. So we ensured that we did all our due diligence. We had a couple of things that came through, nothing of any validity. But no, we will do our due diligence. We will continue to work with Vegas Metro. Vegas Metro does a tremendous job, as well as our own major crimes. They're out there. So we take all the threats serious. We investigate them all because absolutely. I mean, everyone's safety is very important to us. It's our race. I mean, God forbid, we don't want anything to happen at all. Anything else from you guys? Brian, do you have any words of wisdom for them?
That'll come later on as we get closer to the race.
Other than the fact that they're nuts for doing this? It's fun. It'll be fun. You'll appreciate it once it's done. The work leading up to is very tough, but at the end, there's that great sense of accomplishment when your team finishes, especially if you guys get a mug. There's a really good sense of accomplishment. It's great for the team. It's great for you. And that's what keeps us coming back every single year. Because every year I swear I'm never going to do this again. But every year
It's a big undertaking. Try to get somebody to help you. Don't try to take it all on yourself if you can help it. And yeah.
All right, folks. Well, if we don't have any questions, I thank you guys for your time. Again, you guys have all of my contact information. Whatever it is that you guys need, please do not hesitate. We'll try and keep you as informed as we possibly can. Like I said, we'll know more in about a month and a half when we go out to Vegas and check things out and speak with the doctors. So if we don't have any other questions, going once, going twice. Thank you folks very much. Take care, you guys. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.